You're implementing something that you know that you like, and you're giving it from a part of you.
Welcome. You're tuned in to Leadership Beyond Burnout, where we encourage you and your organizations to heal, lead, and succeed. I'm your host today, Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson, and our purpose today is to be able to educate, inspire, and entertain you. Now, as you engage with us, you'll hear a lot of information to help you to be able to transform your experiences and your relationships. Now, if you're new here, I'm so pleased to have you. And please make sure that you listen up for some of the actionable strategies and steps and challenges to be able to help you to integrate into your workplace and your life. During the show, feel free to send us questions or our guests, and you can connect with me at drkimberlywilson.com. Now, this episode today is sponsored by Leadership and Resilience Consultants, whose mission is to create healthy workplace cultures and to give women tools to recover from and prevent burnout. Let me share a little bit about our guest today. We have a special treat for you. Now we have Joy Young. She's a master in business, leadership, success, and manifestation. As a serial entrepreneur and project management professional, she has built a career on helping others achieve their highest potential. Joy hosts two popular podcasts, Money Monday and Regal Mindset, where she shares powerful insights on wealth building and personal development. She's a published author of 3 books and 3 ebooks on Amazon. Joy's expertise spans topics that guide her audience toward lasting success. Through her life coaching and business consulting firms, she empowers clients to manifest their goals with clarity and purpose. With her deep knowledge in leadership and manifestation, Joy is dedicated to creating transformative solutions that elevate lives and businesses to the next level. And without further ado, let us welcome Joy Young.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Thank you so much for being here today.
You made me sound so important.
Well, you are. I can't wait to have everybody learn how you bring some healing to the world. So please share that.
Absolutely. So I am Joy, the coach, and I put the emphasis on the because a lot of people don't realize that they have so many different gifts to share that I don't feel like I need to be siloed in. So when I say the, it's because I can coach you through anything.
Okay.
I'm not only a certified life coach, I'm also a certified business consultant, and I help corporations, small, medium businesses, and individuals in business needs, as well as assisting them in developing their personal needs. Because when you realize that your personal needs really navigate you through your business needs, you'll be willing to focus on the life part of your coaching. And so I offer all of that into a comprehensive, I want to say package, but a comprehensive opportunity when we're reviewing what you're looking for to achieve your goals.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a mouthful. Now, how did you get here? Like, what has been your journey?
So I would say I fell into it. The reason why I feel that way is because I've always been that person that people come to. And so I'm always giving out advice. I'm always researching. Well, as soon as I hear something, well, let me figure it out for you. And then so that is what put me into the project management field. So then I'm able to balance and multitask. And I said, Joy, you can offer so much good to individuals who are not privy to this type of experience, to this type of industry or this type of world, because When you think project management, you automatically go to corporate. But then we can help project manage someone else's life. We do that through business consulting and other type of consulting. We also do that through life coaching or just coaching in general.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realized that is your passion. You have a gift for gab. You're going to always try to make sure everybody is informed. And, I follow pretty much every biblical principle out there. But, just like the Bible says, in all you're getting, you need to get an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So I make it purposeful to make sure that any information out there is that, one, you understand it. Because it's the one thing about hearing it, but when you understand it and know how to apply it, that is what makes you successful. And
Mm-hmm.
when you realize and put all of these keys together, then, because one of my famous statements that I put out and I also have it on a t-shirt, I said, everybody's successes differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't look at your success, Dr. Kimberly, and measure my success because I can't find my reflection in your mirror. But when I'm so happy with what I can achieve and how I see success, I'm successful.
Right.
And a lot of people miss that because we try to be Oprah. We try to be Beyonce. No, be you. You have so much to offer, but you fail to see that because you're trying to find your reflection in somebody else's mirror. So
I
my job is to help you see you.
I love that expression because so many are chasing, if not looking at someone else's
Hmm.
success, it's chasing somebody else's dreams. I
Right.
can tell you how many times I've heard people like, I'm doing this for my dad or I'm doing this for my mom because they never had the opportunity to. And then 10 years in, they're wondering why they're so unhappy. Why are
Unhappy.
they burnt out? Because that wasn't your vision. That wasn't.
Oh my God, you're so true about that. And when me and you talked at first about the burnout, we looked at it from a corporate perspective, from a leadership perspective. But when you're burnt out emotionally and mentally trying to drive someone else's dream,
Oof.
you're not going to be able to fulfill anything on any other industry because you're burnt out.
Mhm. Right.
And hopefully people who see this podcast and really hone in will understand how valuable they are and start putting their energy out there to where there are, that you're good at a skill. When you're good at a skill, you'll find out where it's less burnout because you're implementing something that you know that you like and you're giving it from a part of you that is not pulled from somebody else's, what is it, water field or cistern. You're pulling from your own resources and you don't burn out.
Mhm. I'd love for you to share how does some what would be some signs for a person to begin to understand like I'm not pulling from my own cistern. I'm actually doing things that aren't aligned with my values or my skill set. Like what are some cues to be able to find that?
One, I would go back to what you stated. When your statement is, I'm doing this for my mom, I'm doing this for my dad, you're not pulling from yourself. Um, when I realized what I wanted to be when I grew up, I didn't find that out until a couple of years ago because I was fixated on a idea. Okay, I'm Gen X, so
Yes.
we know that thing in school where they put you through and they say, "What you want to be when you grow up?"
Right.
And you're like, "Oh, I want to be a doctor." So then, right, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be this. Or you have somebody in your family telling you what you need to be. So
Right.
then you gravitate and develop this ideal of a path that may not be you.
Right.
So then for those who find themselves, they differ from that path. And then they have family members that's upset because they feel like you're not successful because it's not what I perceive to be successful.
Yes.
So when you're starting to what you want to do is start, just take a step back first. Take a step back.
Right.
Are you happy?
Mm.
Do you when you get up in the morning and you have to clock in, how did that make you feel? Because we need to evaluate our emotions.
Yes.
How did that make you feel when you clocked in? Were you angry because you knew Susan was going to mess with you? I was that person. I hated it. I did it because I knew I had to pay bills.
Right.
But I knew as soon as I clocked in, I knew Cheryl was going to come with something today. And I was already upset. When you're there, you're not walking or you're not pulling from your own self
Right.
because you have positioned yourself to be in another endeavor that does not belong to you. You're not happy.
Right. And you highlighted something for me that I really want to bring out. Uh, you you talked about living somebody else's dream, and as you're a parent, I'm a parent, and mine are just they're brand new shiny adults, right?
Right,
And it was it's still such a challenge for me to realize that they have their path, and
right,
I have to allow them to find it. I mean, so their parents, between them, we've got 5 degrees. None of my children wanted to go to college.
right,
Not
right.
one. My daughter's like, I'm not getting all that debt. And and when you look at society now, college is not always the path for success. So I have to do a lot of self-talk that, like, it's okay. She's following her path. It doesn't mean, because before that meant, I think for some of our parents, that meant you weren't going to succeed at all. You were
Hmm.
going to be destitute because factory
Right,
work is gone.
right, right.
So,
So then think about that. We have to, let's, because I had that trigger too. When you first heard your children saying they were not going to do what you felt was successful, it triggered you. Because you're
right.
like, wait a minute, no, I'm successful. You're going to do it. And then you, like you said, we had to take that step back. And our parents operated in the era that fit them. So
Hmm.
what their experiences, they didn't know that 10, 20, 30 years later, the experiences were going to be slightly different and
Right.
didn't have that requirement. So let's look at education. It was something to go to school at
Yeah.
one point.
Right.
Then it was something to go to high school.
Yeah.
Then it was something to graduate. So those are things that occurred over time. And then it was something to go to a community college. An associate's would have got you far.
Right.
But then in the society, in the systematic control that we are, when African Americans started getting associates,
No,
they
no,
raised
you're
the
not going
bar.
to do it. No,
Yeah.
you're not going to do it.
But then we condition ourselves to say, hey, you need to go further. Scratch associate, go get a bachelor's. Then when we started getting too many bachelors, masters became a requirement. Okay, bachelor's is not. So then we position ourselves, especially in the Gen X generation,
Yes.
to see education as a way of success
Right.
because of what our ancestors and what people before us had to go through to get it.
Yes.
We can't expect that from millennials, Gen Z, or Gen Alpha. And
No.
also, when I think about it, my field of business didn't even require a degree. I could have got a 6 week course in project management, got a certification, but now I'm 100 and something thousand in debt because I got 2 degrees and I'm working on my doctorate.
Right. I definitely, I tried the project management course. I
Right.
think I did that before. I kept going to sleep on it. So I said, this
Because
is
you be
not
sitting
for
there,
me.
it's a lot. I had to take it like 2 or 3 times, not the test, but I had to take the courses. I'm like, it's not registering. But once it registered, it's worth keeping. But also something that you said, and of course, I'm always go back to the Bible. The Bible tells us to train a child in the way they should go.
Mhm.
We interpret that as we supposed to puppeteer. That's not the way they should. We should raise you to be good people.
Mhm.
We should raise you and train you how to do your taxes, how to pay your bills, how to live in society until you find your path,
Right.
not to tell that child what to do. And a lot of us didn't find that till late. I didn't
Right.
find that out till I got a 4 year old because she's quick to tell me, she wants to be a firefighter, police officer, doctor, whatever. You can be whatever you want because mama gonna make sure that you have it.
Right.
But me, from what I've been through, police officer wouldn't have been my first choice for you
Right.
because of our experiences.
Right.
But how do I know what 20 years is going to look like? So I don't
Exactly.
want to take away her dream because it doesn't fit what I experience.
Right. Because that can really be a source of burnout. You keep trying to mold and shift people into you want them what you want them to be, and sometimes
Hmm.
that's not their path. And then when I told my mother I was going to the Marine Corps, she
Oh
cried.
man, how did
She
she
did
feel?
cry. She's like, "Why don't you pick the Air Force at least?" And she was killing me saying this right now. Uh, but now she is finally coming around. Like, well, I guess that was good for you. Just now.
Wait, wait, how many years have it been?
Ooh, I've been retired for quite some time, and I'm almost in my 60s, and
Oh my God. Well, you don't look it
she
first.
just coming
Yeah.
around to it.
But then it was like, why are you giving yourself to the military now? Back then, we know men had to do it. They had to sign
Right,
up for like the service. But when it came down to us, they're like, no, if it's something else, I don't want you out there. But
right.
then I see the benefit in it
Mhm. Yeah,
now. And then some of these kids need it. So they just need to go. So I'm for it. I've always, my dad was in the military my entire life. He retired.
right.
Went into the Air Force and he retired Army National Guard, I think, something
Okay.
like that. His
Wow.
father was in the Navy. I've been around military my entire life. My sister's in Germany now, so it's been a family thing. So I would root for it. Like, you know, if I was small enough, I would get into it too. They're like, no, we're not gonna do that right now.
Right. Now I want to go back to your bio
Hmm.
because I'm not sure how much people understand about manifestation and what
Right.
that is. So I'd love for you to share how that could benefit someone and why they might begin to engage in this practice.
Right. So let me debunk the fact that, excuse me, manifestation is not this mystical thing.
Okay.
And I think, and especially Christians, when we hear words like that, it triggers us the wrong way
Hmm.
because a lot of times we feel that, oh, we're taking our prayer. But no, the Bible tells us to pray and meditate. So meditate is not a bad thing. Manifestation is simply one, it's not the tangible thing. So
Hmm.
it's not the tangible thing. You
Okay.
manifest daily. You know how? When you see yourself riding in that Rolls Royce, you
Mm,
literally manifested it.
mm.
You called it into existence, like the Bible tells us. He said, wait, hold on, wrong one. I'm gonna come back to that one because it goes into another one. But when you're manifesting, you're visualizing, you're feeling, and you're seeing with your eyes closed a situation, a scenario that could benefit you.
Mm. Okay.
So I don't physically have to touch it for it to be manifested. I've already called it into existence and I'm waiting it to become into fruition.
Mm.
That is how our faith is. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So that is what manifestation. It is not has to be seen in order for it to be existent. So what we do is when it comes down to manifestation, it's not all about the personal side of it. You have to manifest in business as well. That is how these people become successful in business because they saw the building. They saw the logo on the building. They saw the staff in the office. And then they continue to plan and pursue. Manifestation takes action. So the social media will have us thinking that if I close my eyes and in 5 hours, yeah, it doesn't happen like that. So when you manifest, you have to grab it in your imagination, in your emotions, in order for it to project. We
Okay.
do that in relationships all day. I want him to love me. I want her to love me. The next thing you know, they're loving you because you willed it into such a way that it made itself visible.
And you did loving actions.
Exactly. You made sure that you was around when he was around. You made sure you looked good. You made sure you smelled good. Everything, it takes action. So when I help people manifest, I help them manifest in such a way that they're taking action because I get a lot, especially men clients. I get a lot of male clients that tell me, well, as soon as I get the money, I'll do this. I said, you're doing it backwards. You need to do
this. So when you get the money, what the Bible tells us, write the vision, make it plain, so that when those that may hear it may run. You're not even ready to execute the vision of your business or anything you want to do because you're trying to wait for the money. No, put everything in place. Get your business set up. Get all of your paperwork drafted. Get your business plan, everything in place. So when the money comes, all you have to do is hit send on the phone or in your computer and get it over to the bank for the funding.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to do things backwards. So again, manifestation takes action. And so I help people see that within themselves
Okay.
because personally, we have a lot of roadblocks. Those roadblocks are the way we was raised. We
Mm-hmm.
just talked about it with the education thing. We were raised that education equals success when that's not it. So when we changed that mindset, we started accepting that you really don't have to go to college to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
the roadblock we had to get over was to see it in a more, um, um, well,
Tan-
a newer light. Yeah, a
Right.
different perspective.
Right. So that
You
goes
get a,
back
go ahead.
to your biblical principles about faith without works is dead.
It's dead. You can't do anything without faith. You don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing with things in manifestation. You would never see it until you close your eyes, imagine it, whether you dream about it, whatever you want to do, to script it, write it down, keep in that journal. You write the vision
Right.
to make it plain so that you can keep seeing it, rehearsing it, recalling it. What do I need to do today? Let me just go take a look at some buildings out there and see what area I want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. That's the action. So that when the moment happens, you're so ready to deploy it, there's nothing stopping you. And when you get past your personal roadblocks, because our personal roadblocks is going to always be money.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is, I don't have enough money. I need to wait. That's not the issue. The money will come for the vision when the vision is made plain.
Vision is made plain. And then I want to tie it back to our earlier conversation when we you were talking about what your daughter wanted to be and when they asked you what you
Mm-hmm.
wanted in school. It's so difficult, I believe, for kids to find what they want to be when they don't even know it exists.
Oh, you're so good about that.
I mean,
And
we know that they know basketball player, football player, doctor. These are things that they interact with, so they're tangible and they're like, I can do that. And then because of circumstances sometimes and the lack of people who encourage and who say it's possible because they haven't done it, they don't know it's possible.
right,
They can't manifest because it
they
gets
can't.
killed in its infancy.
And they don't have the broadened vision to see anything else. So
Mhm.
if you only live in a certain city all your life, you don't know that there's other cities that exist.
Yes.
I know so many people that live in Maryland. And Maryland is known for crabs, right? So they have that concept. They're gonna keep crabbing at you. That don't even go outside of the city limits because to them it's too far. I'm like,
Oh my goodness. Oh,
what
you
happened?
So I'm originally from Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, Michigan, and now I live in the South. And it's so funny to hear them say, "Oh, that's 30 minutes away." I'm like, I'd be
Like,
happy to have a 30-minute drive. I
right,
need to go 2 hours to go somewhere, an hour,
right.
sometimes 4 or 5 hours. So you're lucky if it's only 30, 20 minutes.
Exactly. Because I can get in the car and go. And I'm from the South. Born and raised, I was born at Eglin Air Force Base, which is over at Fort Walton Beach. I was raised in Jacksonville. My dad, of course, with military, we travel. So we're used to going. So
Yeah.
that's not going to change. But when I hear people say that, that lets me know how limited they are in their beliefs because they don't feel that there's anything outside of what they've experienced or what they see. And when I was talking to somebody about sports because our 11-year-old, we have him in football.
Mhm.
Um, and that's something he wanted to do, but he's been in boxing and other things like that. And I told him, I said, we as a community focus on money making sports, but
Mm.
we forget that lacrosse pays more, rugby pays more,
Golf?
rowing, golf, tennis, volleyball. these other sports that we do not show that much interest in, that we do basketball and football because we're known there.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get on the other side, baseball pays more than a football player and a basketball player.
Wow.
We don't we don't expose our children to that because we wasn't exposed to it. So then therefore we're limited in. So then we know that it exists. But because we wasn't exposed to it, we either found a problem with it or have not ventured to find out more about it to make sure our children are well rounded. We can't always leave it up to the state or the county or the city to have these programs of leadership, of any other type of business exposure.
Right.
We have to take that upon ourselves to expose the younger children and the younger generation to it, because then don't know that it exists. They're
Right.
only going to know one world. And it's up to us to make sure that they know that there is a world. Not that I have a problem with the military, other than just the military, to get out there and see it.
Right.
It's
Right.
important that they know something else out there exists and we need to expose them to it.
Right. And what I love that you said about that, I had just sent a text message to my nephew. He did exceedingly well on his MCATs, and I said,
Mm,
"Congratulations on your MCAT." And,
mm.
instead of saying hard work pays off, I said intentional work pays off,
Oh,
uh,
that's good.
because I'm really honing in on my language, because
Mm-hmm.
when you hear hard work, that almost makes you believe that it has to be hard. You have to burn yourself out. It's always been done this way, so you have to do that way. So I really want to focus on ensuring people know that you can create a path that's different. Just because everybody else in this system, you become a leader, and the manager before you did it like this, manager before them did it like this. You know what? You can create a new culture. You can create a new environment
Exactly.
where hard work is not valued as much as intentional
Oh,
and
it's not.
transformative work.
We know that from just working in the workforce, that hard work does not pay off. Let's just be real about it. It
Yeah.
just makes you, I don't want to use that word. It
Tight.
makes you, it's it puts you in a place where they're going to continue. That when I say they, I'm talking about those who assign tasks,
Right.
such as projects, things like that, to add more to your plate because they know that you can do it.
Right. And you're not going to say no.
No, and you're not going to say no, but are they giving you an increase? So now we're talking about burnout because you didn't say no, you didn't set that boundary.
Right.
Now, what I can applaud the younger generation for doing is they set boundaries.
Yes, they do.
That's not in my job description. But just imagine us in our generation saying that. Well, we're gonna get fired. We're gonna get this. No, I applaud them because they say stuff we really wanted to say.
Hmm.
And for
That's
them to set boundaries, it's amazing. And it makes employers really think like, okay, wait a minute, because it costs to recruit, it costs to train, it costs to bring in someone new. Or let me just make sure that the people that we have are operating within their guidelines.
right.
If it's over my scope of work, I'm not doing it. Absolutely not. And
Right.
I had someone to get upset with me in the workplace because they said that I shifted responsibility. Excuse me. I said, I did. I said, I absolutely shifted responsibility. You know why? Because it was their job. But at the end,
Okay.
I took ownership and took the information that I needed from them and drove the project home.
Okay.
But you're going to own what you're responsible for.
Right.
And he sat back, he said, well, it wasn't presented to me in that manner. I say, exactly, because I held them accountable to what they needed to own. That's my job as a project manager, is
Right.
to hold that person accountable. If you owe me some plans, I'm not going to draw the plans up just because I'm the project manager.
Right.
You owe me the plans. That's
Right.
not shifting responsibility in my sight. That's holding you accountable. So what we do is and that's another thing with these younger generation and burnout, is when we start to hold them accountable, then that's when they start to get the shakes and nervousness, and then they can't take it. So let's take you feeling burnt out, because I watch a lot of social media
Right.
and I see some of these younger generation, and I just want my mental health, and I support it. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
but the way they use it, if they would have experienced what we experienced in the workplace those years ago when we started,
Yes.
mental health wasn't even a word. You just took it. And so I get it, but everything is not as extreme as they make it.
Right.
It's you that want to be.
Everyone is not a narcissist.
Everybody's not. That
Everyone
they don't learn the new word.
is
They don't learn the new word, Dr. Kimberly. And now, and I hate to be that person. Like, it's really not that serious. Like, we are the generation that know what being outside means.
right.
Y'all don't go outside. Y'all got too many games inside to go out. Y'all don't even know what being bit by a mosquito means.
Right. Well, and our world is not even
Mm-hmm.
really built functionally to be out. There's some places where there are no sidewalks. Like you
It's
can't even
not even
go there.
right.
And your
Right.
kids, what was it? I would be riding my bike all over the city, and my mother's like, "What?" Like, but now you can't. The systems won't even let your kids be out of your sight. Sometimes, like
Right.
you need to watch them all at all times. So,
Right.
but the world is very different. So I love your connection that sometimes burnout is not burnout. It's your erroneous perception sometimes of.
I will agree with that. And when I discuss certain topics with individuals, especially in leadership, I try to help them understand how you navigate through the generations.
Mm,
Um, One thing that I can say through my exploits is the fact that one, we have to accept the fact that all generations are present, from baby boomer all the way to almost Gen Alpha, is present in the workforce.
right,
So as we shift out, but this hasn't been like this before. It was one time when it was only baby boomers and Gen X. But
right,
now we got baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and some of these Gen Alphas that's coming in there. How do you navigate through that when you're from a particular generation?
right,
We don't have the same understanding. We don't have the same concept. We don't have the same temperament. We don't have the same knowledge. We don't have the same dress code. We don't we don't have it.
a lot of
And it's
difference.
a lot of differences. But how do you navigate through that? Because as the workforce, you're going to experience a level of burnout navigating a boss that does not understand it.
Right,
You, as a person in leadership, you're going to experience burnout when you don't understand the generations that you're navigating through.
right,
This is very big because when you're looking at the way Gen Z talk, when we were in school, they gave us, whether it was an elective course or whatever, typing, how to go in there, how to shake hands, how to look you in your eye. These
hmm,
kids don't even look you in the eye no more.
hmm,
So how important is that? When you're interviewing with the baby boomer, what do they expect? They expect for you to come in, shake hands, you're looking, all of that. The only
right,
thing they don't accept anymore is for you to come in with a paper resume anymore. Because remember, they told us have a paper resume in a folder, looking presentable, go in. You ain't even have to do that no more.
right. They'll pull it
I
up.
had a right, and I had a young man that came in and interviewed at one of my at this company, and I sat into the interview, and I looked at him, and Dr. Kimberly, I had to be able to decipher his skill set from the way he looked, and I
Mm,
told him, I said, "You're amazing. Your skill set checked every box." I said, "But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna be the only one looking at you. You need to go get a haircut." Or
mm,
at the minimum, line it up, pull your hair back, and I need you to trim this up because right now you look like a woolly mammoth. He started laughing. He said, "I know." I said, "And I'm going to help you get there." He knew he came in there looking bad. And I told him, I said, "I'm going to help you through this because one, I care, I understand."
hmm,
I said, "I'm going to make sure that we bring you aboard." I signed off on his paperwork because his skill set was amazing.
hmm.
But in the wrong eyesight, they wouldn't have saw his skill set because they're looking at his appearance.
Yeah, his package.
But he's a Gen Z young guy, he's in his early 20s. He
Hmm.
didn't understand. I'm like, sir, it's people that don't look like us that's going to see the bad part of you, and you can't give that. You
Or
coming
even
in,
people that look like us.
yeah, that is going to, like, no, he couldn't get a haircut. How do we know this guy
He
didn't have
doesn't
money to get it?
respect me.
Exactly. But for people like that like you and I that know, okay, let me look past that because I'm gonna look at the person. We can help navigate these individuals in the workplace to see, okay, I'm going off your skills. I'm really going off your resume. I'm not going off your name or your face.
Mm.
And I
Okay.
think that's important. And a lot of leadership burn out because of that, because they're so busy trying to model an old construct of what a person should be.
Right.
And you're not bringing in the right people. So then, therefore, you're training people for no reason because they're not going to stay.
Right.
You're not bringing in individuals that really want to work because you're looking at their purple hair.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking at the fact that they got, yeah, let's be real. They come in with
Right.
purple hair. What's the first thing you're going to say? You're going to be like,
You can do something with that.
but on their resume, they got certifications in ethical hacking. They got coding. They got this. And I'm like, you can really run a whole government system from your home laptop.
Right. I think there's a millennial on LinkedIn. I believe she's a millennial.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Madison Butler. She works in she HR people, but blue haired unicorn is what she calls herself.
Right.
Got the blue hair and just smart as a whip.
Yeah. But how do you deal with that when to that person, it's like, why does my hair matter? When
Hmm.
we was growing up,
It
you
mattered.
only had certain, it mattered. It
It,
mattered how you present yourself. And so, and then we put individuals in the workplace that really don't want to work.
mm, right.
That's one of the bigger things now. A lot of, um, I was reading up on how a lot of Gen Zs are getting terminated now. They want to call it burnout, whatever. They're getting terminated because they're not wanting to
Perform.
do work,
Oh, they're
not
not.
performing. It's a lot. But then when the Gen Z responds, we're not going to tolerate because your company is not ethically, I mean, they're going in. And I'm like,
They
wait
are.
a minute.
They are. They
I
really.
love it. I love it. It makes
It's
more room for
interesting
us.
to watch. Yeah.
It's it's interesting to watch and it makes room for us. You know why? Because as consultants, we can come in and help re-establish that
Right.
level and you just have to pay us at a higher dollar. Because remember, when we was on payroll, you didn't we weren't good enough to promote and put into these authoritative. So now that we're on our own, my
Yes.
ticket and my cost price exceeds what you
Yes.
would have
It's
paid me
time
on a W
to pay the
two.
price.
So you should have thought about that. You should have kept us. But that's my personal opinion.
Well, to each thing there is a season.
Yeah,
Joy, the coach, I would love for you to give our audience a challenge to be able to either transform their personal or
right.
professional life, or both.
My challenge to you would be find out what you want to be when you grow up. Because if you're watching this podcast, you're seeking something. So I want you to take a moment and figure out what do you want to be when you grow up. And if it match what you're currently doing, build on it, make it stronger. If it doesn't match, then you need to do a deep dive to find out what is your passion and that will create your purpose in this world.
Thank you so very much for being here today. I love the conversation. I'm sure that our audience got some valuable nuggets out of today. And until next time, and we'll make sure that the audience knows how to get you. Do you want to mention your website real quick?
Absolutely. You can find me on Linktree, Linktree/Joy Young. You can also look up IamJoyYoung.com and
Oh,
you will find my links, my contact information, everything there. And I really, truly appreciate this opportunity, Dr. Kimberly. It has been wonderful. I've been anticipating it. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for future endeavors between us as well.
all right. Wonderful. Me as well. Until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This has been Leadership Beyond Burnout. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly L. Wilson. You can find us here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Pacific. And until next time, we'll see you later.